Welcome to Moshiach Medical Minute. In the midst of the current COVID crisis, an incredible thing happened. This past Tuesday, November 3rd, the government and the entire medical establishment made a remarkable 180-degree reversal. After months of warning us about the dire risk for this highly contagious disease and repeatedly recommending extreme quarantine practices for individuals who test positive for this alleged virus, all of that suddenly became irrelevant. The federal agency that calls itself the Center for Disease Control announced that every American citizen is entitled to vote in person, and even patients who are infected with COVID may leave their isolation, stand online, and enter voting facilities with other people, all for the purpose of fulfilling their civic duty and voting in the presidential elections. And not a single voice of protest from the medical mainstream or media. Everyone seemed to agree with this policy. This is truly astounding if the virus is indeed as lethal and contagious as we have been led to believe. It's inconceivable that medical experts nationwide would approve of such individuals going out to the public. We're talking about 3.3 million people who tested positive for COVID as of last week, Tuesday, who were invited to leave their isolation and venture out, risking to expose the entire public, some 50 million Americans who also came out in person to vote that day. Truly mind-blowing. In midst of what they allege to be the scariest, deadliest, most contagious disease in a century, how reckless of them. What is the explanation for this bizarre exception? The answer is obvious. It's really not so reckless. This virus is really not so deadly or contagious as we have all been led to believe. But since it's a novel virus and so much is still unknown, certain gut doctors feel it's a good idea to keep all these precautions, and the government chooses to endorse their position. Except in extraordinary circumstances like the election of 2020, when the fate of the whole country hangs in the balance and is dependent on you and each individual. As we saw from the results, the races were so close that every single vote was crucial. For an opportunity that's so consequential and so fateful, an exception to all the COVID policies had to be made. My friends, let us learn a lesson from the CDC's flip-flop. The Rambam writes, throughout the whole year, a person should always see himself as evenly balanced between merit and guilt. Likewise, the entire world is evenly balanced between merit and guilt. If he commits one sin, he thereby tips the balance, his balance and that of the entire world, to the side of guilt and causes its destruction. But if he performs one mitzvah, he tips his balance and that of the entire world to the side of merit and brings upon himself and upon them deliverance and salvation. Every single mitzvah is an unprecedented opportunity of huge consequence. You can literally tilt the balance of the entire country and entire world towards the side of merit and cause deliverance and salvation. So obviously, every time you have an opportunity to teach children Torah, visit the sick or mourners, rejoice with the chas and kala, escort the dead, participate in communal prayer, go to mikvah, or perform any other mitzvah, or even just a Jewish tradition, because minhag Yisrael tairehi, how much more so should you leave your isolation and participate with others, even if you officially tested positive for COVID, because a mitzvah observance is so much more powerful and capable of bringing the geula than just a single vote, or even all the votes in the world combined. And how much more so if you haven't even tested positive for COVID and are without any symptoms at all, how much more so should you disregard all COVID courtesies and go do mitzvahs in public? So go to synagogue, pray and study Torah with others. Children should go learn Torah in school the way the Jewish law prescribes, without any masks or separations. No test necessary, since even if the child would test positive, he should still go to learn Torah with his class. After all, that one child's learning might be the one deed that tilts the balance of the entire cosmos to the side of merit and brings the geula for the entire world. It's time for every single individual to leave their quarantines, remove their masks and other separations, and go out and flood the world with acts of goodness and kindness. And may your next deed be the one to totally transform the world and bring geula now. Thank you.